Hi, my name is Kevin Storr. I'm a PhD candidate in informatics at the University of California, Irvine. But today I'm going to be talking about research I led while I was a UX research intern at Google, working with my co-authors, Harini Sampath and Merrick, about the information-seeking behaviors of software developers with visual impairments. Today, programming skills are a gateway to abundant and lucrative employment, and they're increasingly required for a wide variety of jobs, even those which may not traditionally be considered software development positions. Consequently, who has access to programming tools in education is increasingly becoming a question about who is employable in the information economy. So rightly and accordingly, the diversity or lack thereof of the software development profession is a growing concern among many scholars and advocacy groups. And in the pursuit of fostering a more diverse development workforce, HCI researchers have explored the technical accessibility of programming tools, especially for people who are blind or low vision, in part because of the highly visual nature of many coding languages and tools. Consider, for instance, Python, where code structure is dictated primarily by white space, which is denoted visually. And within this domain, the vast majority of research has looked at ways to make interactive development environments and source code non-visually accessible. This work is extremely important, but it's also important to recognize that IDEs are only one part of coding. And what I mean is that at its core, software development is really an information retrieval and synthesis activity. In that, to accurately write and modify source code, developers need to gather and make sense of highly technical information that may be distributed online, in manuals, or on forums. And this is well understood in human-centered programming literature, where sighted developers' information-seeking strategies have been explored extensively. But to date, there's been no analogous body of literature looking at the information-seeking behaviors of blind and low vision developers. This is a real problem because studies of information retrieval outside of the context of software development show consistently that web users who use screen readers have fundamentally different strategies for seeking information online than people who use their vision to navigate the web. So while these studies have not yet been conducted in the domain of software development and technical information seeking, we have reason to believe that blind developers' information behaviors might be fundamentally different from those of their sighted peers. So we wondered, how do developers with visual impairments seek and synthesize technical information while coding? So we recruited 12 professional developers with visual impairments for 90-minute remote sessions, which were comprised of 30-minute observations where participants were asked to seek a specific function in the Go programming language official documentation. These observations were followed by 60-minute semi-structured interviews in which we asked participants to reflect upon their strategies for finding the function during the given task and to connect their reflection to a recent incident of information retrieval in their work life. Put very briefly, we found that our participants use many of the same information sources as their sighted peers, as documented in prior literature. For instance, official documentation, blogs and tutorials, and forums like Stack Overflow are all information sources commonly used by sighted developers while programming. But more importantly, we found that looking at accessibility and programming from the perspective of software development as an information-seeking activity highlighted areas where accessibility in individual information sources like blogs or forums, or individual tools like IDEs or command line interfaces might not necessarily translate into accessibility in development as a process. For example, because different screen readers have different levels of compatibility with different applications, some participants preferred to, for example, navigate the web in JAWS and interact with their IDEs using NVDA. So looking only at the accessibility of the web or of IDEs separately might suggest that development has a very high level of accessibility. But understanding that developers with visual impairments are taking information from the web to the IDE and may have to switch which screen reader they're using while trying to remember the information they found points to real accessibility issues that remain largely hidden with a more piecemeal approach to understanding accessibility in programming. And our exploration of these kinds of accessibility issues within the process of software development for blind and low vision coders point to future opportunities for understanding inaccessibility in coding as it manifests in context and external to any one tool or information source. For instance, in our paper, we outline opportunities for exploring accessible information management, scaffolding disabled developers and building custom tools for their own coding workflow, understanding how blind developers collaborate with sighted coworkers, and vice versa, and the exchange of knowledge on ability diverse development teams. Because as one participant put it, really, it's just everything outside of the IDE that's the problem. Thanks so much for your attention. We hope you'll read our paper to find out more of the details we couldn't share today.